terms of congratulating the good people of the Lindi area upon their recent election of Mr. Barwani as Member of Parliament. This is history in Tanzania, and indeed history in all of Africa. The very first time in African history that a Member of Parliament has been elected by the people. Of course, Honourable Alshama Kwagir has done a great job as an appointed Member of Parliament, as a presidential appointee in special seats, and we congratulate her upon her reappointment. But Mr. Barwani, of course, is the first elected member by the people of a region to serve them, and so congratulations to him on that election, and congratulations to the good people of Lindi. The opponent to Mr. Barwani made some derogatory and discriminatory remarks against persons with albinism in the media, and his campaign manager has also said that people with albinism have bad memories and don't think well because of lack of vitamin C. These are inappropriate and derogatory remarks, and the good people of Lindi showed their rejection of these remarks by electing Mr. Barwani and showing they had belief in him. Sadly, though, since his election, police have reported that there are 5 men pursuing the life of Mr. Barwani. They've been following him around with criminal intentions. We don't know if they want Mr. Barwani because of his body parts or if there's some other motive for their following. But he is under security protection of the police at this time, and we certainly want to offer our complete support to Mr. Barwani during this time as Under the Same Sun to partner with him in his advocacy work for persons with albinism. We also want to offer our comments to the government of Tanzania. We want to thank Prime Minister Pinda and congratulate him on his reappointment and thank him for the good work he's done in leading this cause. We're thankful for the 4 convictions that have happened in the 59 murder cases and the 9 attack cases. So out of these 68 documented cases of murder and attack, 4 have been completed to conviction, which means the vast majority have not received attention in the courts. This concerns us greatly, and we would call upon the police and the government to do everything possible to expedite these cases and bring the families of those people justice as quickly as possible. Now to our trip in Mwanza and Shinyanga. We arrived yesterday in Mwanza and had a wonderful time visiting 2 schools which Under the Same Sun has placed scholarship students. We are both at Jelly's school as well as Lakeview School. These are both English medium schools, and we have taken children from overcrowded government schools, Mitindo, where there was at one point 105 children with albinism living in overcrowded conditions, and now we have transferred those kids into high-quality private boarding schools. And at Lakeview and Jellies, we saw a tremendous example that children with albinism are intelligent, that they're smart, that they're capable, and we saw great teachers. We saw great examples of those schools, and we're very, very happy about that. Great work. And the teachers at those schools are opposed to discrimination, as most of the people of Tanzania are. We believe most Tanzanians would view persons with albinism as equal to themselves. But there's a small segment of the society that misunderstands the condition that needs further education. And so we spent time in Mwanza, and then after our 2 visits to these schools, we had the opportunity today to come to Shinyanga. And in Shinyanga we had visits again with some of our grantees, the students that we have placed in schools. Under the Same Sun has now put 300 children, all the way from primary school up to university, into high quality education. But disturbingly, we went to Buangija, which is a government public school, which has had a situation of tremendous overcrowding. And we've removed many children from there and put them in good schools, but there's still many, many, many children with albinism coming to that school because they're afraid to live in their villages, because they're afraid of being murdered, because their parents in some cases have abandoned them, dropped them at the school. We saw very disturbing conditions. Some children and families living in tents, which Under the Same Sun, with the cooperation of the Red Cross, provided to Buangija. And we saw some very sad stories, some others that I talked to today, who talked about how their children were chopped apart alive. One mother told me the story of how killers came and presented themselves and said, "Give us your 7-month-old baby with albinism. And if you don't give her to us to murder and chop her up for her organs, we'll kill all of your children, we'll kill you. So you choose, you give the 7-month-old baby or you give your whole family." And the 7-month-old baby was killed. We had another case of a girl named Kabula who had her arm chopped off. The killers came to the home and they took this little girl and they chopped off her arm and they said, "We're not here to kill you, we just want your arm, just for the arm," as if that was somehow going to make it better. Now this girl, of course, lives a life with 1 arm. She's been traumatized, and she now is struggling to receive an education. 2 other children that disturb me, children with albinism that have mental disabilities now because of trauma. We discovered from both of these children that their parents actually put them in cow sheds. Can you imagine? the time these children were young, simply and only because the children had albinism. The parents took the child and literally raised the child in a cowshed. And so now the child sits on the ground rocking back and forth because they are mentally disturbed because of a lifelong full of trauma. This is a result of discrimination and misunderstanding. So these are the findings of our trip. Many encouraging things with very intelligent, capable kids with albinism doing well in public schools, or in private schools rather, that we've placed them in. And we see other stories, sadly, of continuing discrimination and sadness. But we will win the war. We will work together with our partners in Tanzania, and we will win the war.